The vibes are immaculate. Hello, everyone. I'm here with Danny. Do you prefer Daniel or Danny? Danny Torres.
What seems more natural when you say it?
Ah, well, you put down Danny, so I think we should go with Danny. But if I was gonna put you in my book, I'd name you Daniel.
All right.
You know what Daniel means?
Daniel is that's I don't have the sensory for that, but I've heard.
Daniel means he who is judged by God.
Yeah.
A girl told me recently. She's like, you'd be a good Daniel. And I was like, hmm, maybe I would be. Maybe I would be a good Daniel. Do you mind if I steal your identity, Daniel? Can I wear
I
your
mean,
face?
you can try, but you'll never be me.
I am you, buddy. I am you. It's already happened. Multiple personality disorder. Now you're one of my personalities. Sorry. It's getting dark. How are you doing today, Danny?
I'm doing pretty good. Today's pretty good. Yeah.
It's a silvery day. It's cloudy out. The mists are abound. Yes, yes, yes. You got your silver lion up in the background. I got my. Well, this is a mosaic of a Medusa's head and her
Mm,
snakes. So
nice.
some bad vibes interrupted my Wi-Fi, and I had to rush out here. Ran a few red lights, you know.
Yep, it happens.
Just kidding. I did not. That was a lie. I did it for effect. But first, Daniel, if you'd like to introduce yourself, tell us a little bit about yourself, your background, where you came from, your education, and your career, where you're going. So,
All right. So, very general overview here is like, how do I explain myself? Let me see. Okay, so I live in Florida, Miami, Florida.
cool. So you're Florida man.
Most intense place in Florida.
Exactly.
Um,
Oh, the most intense place in Florida. Wait, where?
I mean, Miami has quite the reputation. It's
I need to go to Miami.
not
That was
very
fun.
safe here, but I mean, that's where I live.
Uh huh.
Um, and so I am currently a chemistry major in college, um, doing a BS in chemistry, which is pretty tough. I think BS is
Bullshit.
pretty hard. Yeah,
I'm
it's bullshit,
sorry.
right?
A bullshit.
No, I always say that in my head when either I say it or I see it. I always say that in my head, but bachelor's of science. It's
Have
just
you
kind
seen
of like
the
if you're
Have you
going
seen the
down
clip
the
of
same
Danny
path.
DeVito,
No.
like in the silver wig, and he's acting like he's an art judge, and he's like bullshit, 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 and then it's like a vacuum cleaner. It's like that. I love that.
That's funny.
Yeah, yeah.
Well,
But
yeah.
sorry,
So
back
I'm doing a bullshit degree, and so yeah, that's
Actually, I
what
hear
I'm
that's
doing
one of the most
currently.
valuable degrees. It was like
And
chemistry.
no,
Yeah.
yeah, it's pretty tough. It's of the hardest degrees to do in college. I believe the hardest is math, if I'm not
Mm.
mistaken. It's definitely in the top three. Physics and chemistry, I'm pretty sure. It's those three.
Yeah,
So it's pretty tough.
high
Um,
standards. That's impressive.
and that's not why I got into it. Although it like as being a number one, that kind of added a layer to it.
Yeah,
It kind of locked it in a little bit. Um, for me, it was more so that I was just good at chemistry. I liked it. I was just very passionate. Um, it just like aroused my mind. I don't know how else to
that's
say
good.
it. Yeah.
That's good.
So,
Oh
um,
wait, you're SF. You're SF. What is SF? It's the chemicals. The SF is the physical chemicals. You're like
it really is.
the physical chemicals. That's my
It
thing.
really
So guys,
is.
if you're SF chemistry,
Yeah, I
ESF
mean,
is.
SF, I mean, it's the most concrete form of like, what are your feelings? Feelings are kind of invisible, but with SF, you kind of make it physically, I don't want to say, yeah, like defined or visible or um, it's calculated in some way. Um,
Hmm.
and so, yeah, that's what I'm doing. I do have a degree in psychology, and I was gonna do something with that, but it was kind of my plan B. And being FI, I kind of wanted to default. I wanted to get back to plan A as much as I
Yeah.
could.
Yeah.
So I did go down plan B a little bit, but I'm back at plan A. Let's see if I stay here. So
Hmm.
that's what's going on.
Well, I don't know if this is presumptuous, but I wrote a plan A through E for myself, and I was like, I think this could help a lot of people. Just the example of how I'm going about it. So the way it worked, actually, we can talk about you if you want, but I'm willing to share.
I'm
Wrote it in my
curious.
notebook.
Can I see it?
Yes.
Oh,
So I mean, I need to rewrite it, but the
huh.
concept is, the concept is that you're building a pyramid. You're building a pyramid, and these are the tiers of your life. So A is like your best life, and what you do in each level of the pyramid is you're building up the skills to go to the next level. And what you decide at each one is you're like, I'm going to be happy here. If I stall out here, I'm happy. If I stall out here, I'm happy. I still did what I was meant to do.
Hmm.
So as ones, I mean, like, I know what it's like being a one man. Like you're like this specialized stuff is hard. It is hard. You have to start getting people on your side. But I mean, so like,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So it's
No,
just what I recommend.
self-specialize is very important.
You
Oh,
got it.
I find it important for me. I don't know if it's important for all at once, but I feel
It
like your
is.
third social need is kind of like your how you truly do your first social need correctly. Because if you
I
combine two saviors, it's a little bit not supervised, if that's the right word. But if when you combine a savior with a demon, it's like you're more disciplined
true,
about it.
true. I 100% agree, but I think having them all online is the most magnifying. Like, so I mean, how do I put it? It's like your personality gives you like your childhood wish. Like you're like, I always
Hmm.
wanted to be this, or I always wanted this. And then once you start transcending that, like, and start like breaking down your psychology and beating your introversion or your extroversion, like you start becoming a whole person, but like you still are like, oh, I'm like, oh, I'm an ENFP. I want to tell stories. I want to be in fairyland, and I want to share that with other people. But I'll eat a bunch of ST to do it.
Yeah.
So so I think you yes, for us ones, like using that specialize, it's really like min maxing.
Hmm.
Like it's like I'm really gonna figure out because you're able to hone in, so you're able to you have the generalized, but you're able to pick a lane to really like be a tip of the spear on it. It's like
Hmm.
this is my purpose. And I think when you say you're going into chemistry, one that pays well, that's a good career foundation to start on. And if you're a one, whatever you go into, you can start managing people. Um, like for instance, I mean, you, I'm kind of sending this to ones is Layla Hermosi's like business management tier list, and
Hmm.
I suggest that all ones look at that like and just be like, okay, yeah, I need some of these skills, like even the lower ended stuff. So I mean, even with this degree, you could go into sales. You could go into sales, like, and then get those sales skills. That's top tier skill, for business management. Because if you're a manager, you have to sell. You have to know what your customer wants. So there's a lot you can do, and having that specialized is really going to help you out and get into a
Yeah.
niche that other people don't understand. So like, yeah, that's great. So sorry. This is
No, I
what you need
mean,
to do.
I'm demon intuition, so I'm not necessarily thinking.
Not far ahead.
I mean, I am thinking far ahead, but I try not to think far ahead in a direction that is not like sensory um,
Well,
bred, if that makes sense.
not gonna
Like,
make you money.
no, no, I mean,
Just
like, of course, I consider money, of course, but like, it's more that I don't feel like I can say that I can manage um, like a whole company or something like that. Although, like, it's great for me to like consider like going that far and like that kind of thing. But like for me,
I
I'm
mean,
focused more on like to specialize in trying to prove myself that I can even go in this direction right now. I
that's
maybe
a
like yeah,
that's good. I'm probably jumping too far ahead. I mean, living way too far in the future, but I'm just like I'm a one. I mean, it could just be you're a manager at wherever you're working. It could be that you're the head of a department. It could.
hopefully,
It just seems like
yeah,
ones, us ones, like you need to have some leadership in your life and some like really solid, like you look to me and respect me for us to be happy. And
yeah.
it's really the calling that ones are called to. So it's just
For
it's
me in particular, I feel like it probably differs a little on like your 512 combined with your social a little bit. For me,
yeah.
it's more that like I want to, how do I say this? I want to be so capable in like what I'm like building for myself
Mhm.
that like no matter like where I am, I can kind of like I don't even know how to describe that. Like I can take care of everything that needs to be done. I want to be able to um, kind of supervise, but not just for the sake of being a supervisor, but because I can actually foresee like more issues than are just mine. Um,
Mhm.
that kind of thing. Like for me, it's that. Like I just want to really like be a big version of myself, if that makes sense.
Yes. Well, that's totally true. I yes, like that's true for everyone.
I hope.
It it seems to be. I mean, to put it into like, I have a friend who's a four who's like who works here, and like they've been managers and stuff, and I've interviewed plenty of fours who are managers, and but there is this like they talk about cleaning up the bar, and they're like other people won't clean up, so I won't do it, and I'm like, so it's like the fours get kind of pulled back by their friends if their friends aren't all up
Hmm.
to snuff. They're like, well, why would I? You're all frustrating me. And flex isn't just showing off. Flex is the aspiration to be better.
Hmm.
And but you can turn that inside out and then start going, no, my flex is to inspire you. You're all going to be inspired. Come on, guys. Like that's what it can be in a positive way. Very much so. So it's like if everyone's doing poorly, you're like, I got to do better, and that can pull everyone in a very positive way because you just start being an example to everyone. People start going,
Interesting.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So it's just reverse polarities. It's not necessarily like it is initially fueled by ego. Have you thought much about ego? Like
Yeah,
ego seems
of
to
course.
be um like survival energy. It's like your animalistic survival energy that keeps you alive. And the ones have a lot of ego, but once they turn it inside out and go like, I don't need to survive. Everything's like that just becomes a lot of libidinal energy, like to go and give.
Yeah.
It does. So
Ego's a big deal. I feel like a lot of people should kind of inspect ego. It's like a
yeah,
concept and kind of, I mean, I feel like it's a great tool to kind of just kind of track yourself. Like, how are you expressing ego?
yeah, yeah.
And kind of use
It's
that
fun.
to see things.
I mean, people have like limiting beliefs, and I'm just like, oh, that's just like your ego protecting you because you're just like,
Hmm.
I can't change in that way. It's like you got to protect your current view of your. It's the ego protecting itself, But if you got rid of that view of yourself, that's who you need to be, or that's who you are. Like, it's so self-deceiving.
I
It's so
wonder
funny.
if different quadras kind of handle the term ego differently.
Yeah, I wonder. Who knows? Okay, sorry, we've digressed a little bit, being
Well,
channel
we are.
changers. Yes. Uh, so, but back to your careers, because I just, but you're in chemistry, so where are you going with that?
So I'm also pre-pharmacy track.
Hmm.
So I'm trying to get into like pharmacy. I would like my more ambitious brain is saying like pharmaceutical research. Just like really go far in that direction and kind of try to contribute something that's meaningful in like
Hmm.
a real way to me. Um, and my plan B would be, what was it? I said it yesterday to my mom. Hold on. I'm interested in like chemical engineering as well.
Hmm.
Potentially, I would have to change majors to do that, but it's still like in the same realm, so it's possible to do that. My plan C would probably be something in the medical field. Very vaguely, I don't think too much about medical stuff, but I'm it's a definite possible plan C. And then my plan D would just kind of be to become a chemistry teacher or professor, something like that. So,
Cool, cool, cool. Awesome. No. We've discussed quite a bit about social type, but let's actually talk about just your experience with it. So you are a one. We were talking before, like, yeah, that's rough, man. It's rough starting out as a one, because we all start out as kids,
yeah.
belligerent children, all this stuff, and it's hard on the front end when you're drawn to be extroverted. Like, you're like, yeah, I want to be out there. I want achievement. I want to. It's just like, oh, can I go back to sleep? Like another nap. So what is that like for you? Like,
um, it definitely the expression of my one has changed throughout my life. When I was younger, I would say, let me tell you. So like when I was really young, like in like elementary school or like 5 to 6 to 7 years old, I had more issues with my demon masculine DE with kids than really anything else. I mean, maybe like demon friends probably played a factor. I wasn't really doing a great job like trying to make friends, but I was still trying to
mhm,
make friends because everybody needs to like connect with other
yes,
people. But the way that I
yes.
was kind of connecting can just be a little bit like I am like quickly seeing the puzzle of like the social and then just kind of like sticking myself right here, and then that kind of changes so much of the vibe. Even though I'm savior feminine NF, I still that's my DE. So
Well, I
um,
mean, your
yeah.
ST, the masculine STs, they've said. I mean, I have it too, where it's like, let me push my way in here and block you, and I'm just
Mhm.
right in front of you. Like the other thing with especially the masculine DE, is just like, it's this weird. Even if you have a demon, it's this weird. How do I put it? I want to say insecurity, but I always say, simply put, projecting aggression, where it's like, you guys don't like me, and then you're also a one, so I'm speaking from experience, right? So people are like, we're friends with you. Why don't you talk as if we're not friends? And I'm like, we're already friends, Henry. Just so you know.
That
But like, yeah,
happens to me too. Yeah,
when you have all that automatic, like, no, we're not
yeah.
friends. Like, wait, we are friends. What? What?
You
Even
know
if
how
you
like
wanted to be a friend.
with masculine sensory, you know how like we can kind of like move things to kind of see if it's broken or not. I feel like
Mhm.
with the masculine DE, we kind of do that with the tribe a little bit too.
You
Um,
shove them. Ah!
yeah, it's like is this actually connected? Like, is it actually
Yeah.
there? A little bit more
Yeah.
than like people with masculine DI might.
Yeah, whereas yeah, they're just like, I think this, and I'm just gonna stick with this. Whereas I'm like, it's funny because even though I'm NF, like I've been like weirdly like, you must tell me, you must tell me what you think. What is this? So it's like, yeah, because the feelings were just wishy washy, even though they were savior. It's hard.
Mhm.
It's hard having feminine feelings, even if they're savior for a while.
It is such a strange. I always had issues with my FI a little bit, and
Hmm.
I used to be type demon sleep third, so that was kind of the explanation back then. But I
You
do think
oh wait, you're consume play sleep now.
no, I used to be, used to
Oh,
be, yeah.
were you always double mask? You got switched to double masking as well. So you
I
are.
was double feminine and then MF, and now I'm double masculine. Yeah.
Well, I was MF, and then they switched. Dave switched me to double masculine. So, and I was trying to tell everyone. That was that's just so funny. But you know what? It actually helped me. I will tell you
Mhm.
because I thought I was like, okay, my DI is movable. So you're telling me I have masculine DI. So I'm just gonna try and go. Hold on to me. So like, and actually living in that other world actually
Yeah.
helped. And I would recommend it to anyone with feminine feelings of try
Fake it till
holding
you
on.
make it. Yeah.
No, it's not faking because it's not about other people. It's within you. So you really have to hold on to a feeling.
Mhm.
You still have the ability to let things wash through you, but you have to like hold on to willpower because like yeah, it's hard to hold on to routines. It's hard to change habits and diets and all this stuff. But some things like you're just like you gotta practice. You gotta start acting like you're masculine feeling. You're like calcifying that feelings and like uh, just try it, even though you'll have tears running down your face.
I mean, I definitely had some of that. I feel like it came more from the flex. For
Well,
me.
it does. It's upsetting to have the flex. Like it's upsetting because you're. It's upsetting. It's a really dark place to be a number one and not have anything that you've signed your name to. I've been
Mhm.
like, I've done that. I've made this difference. I've done these things. If you don't have that yet, it's really dark and you can latch on to things that no one cares about. And you're like, I have to talk about this thing. And it's just like, no one cares, man. Like, that's what happened to me. And now it's just like, I don't even want to talk about those things because I've just got, you just have so many things going for you. You're just like, I could talk about that. I could talk about this. I could talk about
Interesting.
that. And they're all a racket to like get
Yeah.
people into my zone of control.
Yeah. Well, I feel like this is a good time for me to kind of talk about feminine FI a little bit because I
Yeah,
do
yeah, yeah.
have
Go ahead. Go ahead.
some thoughts. So, like, for me, I want to say, yeah, it's like 6 years ago. I started to have like symptoms of PTSD.
Mm,
And looking back, like knowing I have feminine FI, I can really see how part of it was just kind of like some rough things passing through a feminine sleep.
yeah.
Um, it's just very like it can feel similar to like if you just throw a stone into water. The first thing that's going to happen is you're going to have a big splash and you're going to have a bunch of ripples, right? Um,
Yeah.
it felt like I needed to like let that entire process occur.
Yeah.
Um, and so like there was like an evolution that kind of took place over years. It wasn't like fast because I mean this was like serious trauma. Um,
Yeah.
at the very beginning, I just felt very dissociated. I felt like I almost feel like there was more of like the energy of that pressure built like it built up more in my brain almost like in my head.
Hmm.
Like it was just a lot tougher to think about my feelings like or even feel them. It was just kind of like I just kind of felt like stuck. Like um how would I describe it? It felt like You know how like when you're arguing with somebody and you're going to like attack like a point or an argument, like a reason, and you can feel
Hmm.
it, like you're about to say this thing next. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying?
Hmm.
Imagine that, but with the feelings, where it's kind of like I know the next emotion I'm having that I'm gonna articulate or like think about, and it just stuck there. It was kind of like a sensation, like a pressure, and like it was like my brain was just kind of like experiencing that, like all these pressures of like different feelings I was having, and it was not converting it back into just raw emotion. That's the best way I can describe it, although that's really, really weird.
Well, I mean, I feel you're just describing kind of sensory feelings about it, but I
Mhm.
feel like the two methods are two steps to resolving trauma are one, you gotta talk it out and start like catching yourself. Like, actually, I don't know your trauma, so I can't speak on it. But talking to
No,
friends,
I know what you
yeah,
mean. I definitely talked about it a lot. I had like a trauma healing facilitator, um,
yeah,
and um, it was both good and bad. I mean, I almost felt like people that do not know personality, when they try to heal your trauma, and if they happen to be a different type, or like maybe they were, I think like this person was DMNFI, the way they were kind of guiding me into resolving that trauma was not good for me. I felt
mm,
like I was kind of like pushing it a little too much. And so what I learned, was that what works for me is to be like very soft, very like I almost don't even have a time frame at all for when I need this to heal. I don't
yeah,
have any. I don't need one of those. I just kind of need to be so open and soft to my um, just I need to give some background context. So, like when you do go through trauma, that memory of that trauma actually gets frozen in your brain. Like time
hmm,
freezes in that memory and it doesn't continue processing. It gets just frozen.
hmm,
So I had to like just kind of accept that I have like frozen places in my brain. There's parts of my brain that are frozen in time, and so and it will never move forward until I can kind of accept that and um, just let all of that chaotic energy just naturally go where it wants to, but at the same time, kind of guide it. Like if you are the parent, just kind of watch it. And when it's going too far, you stop it, and then you let it keep going, and it just kind of eventually, that stone that drops in the water that causes this big ripple slowly becomes just a peaceful lake with a stone inside.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Well, time heals, time heals, um, but it's talking it out and then it's taking action and changing your behavior so that you're not afraid of it happening again. I don't know if that's exactly the right way to put it, but that's my experience where it's like I'm a different person, or I set boundaries. I know now I'm wiser, and I don't know if I'm saying the right things, but it's like it's something like that. It is a painful process though. Like it's very scary to change and transform because back to that ego. Um, but yeah, it's those two things: sharing the feelings and taking action is
I
what I
mean,
learned.
on the topic of ego, I definitely feel like trauma forces an ego death, that you weren't ready for, like specifically weren't
You're
ready
never
for.
ready.
And so, like, the ego death is kind of, at least for me, like, from my perspective, ego death is like, um, your brain conceptualizes the experience of being in your body a certain
Mhm.
way, you know,
Yeah.
and that way may not be accurate. It's just a way. Um,
Yeah.
and so, like when you're traumatized, it kind of shatters um, the illusion. So it's kind of like, how do I say this? It's like imagine like all the programmings in your brain have never moved, like they have never moved before. But as soon as like you get like a big like impact, like a big shatter in like one of your
Mhm.
programmings, everything moves slightly, and then they're all aware that like what they are, you know, and then
Yeah.
suddenly your whole experience is like for me, I felt like a robot. I literally felt like a just a bunch of like I felt like a computer with like a bunch of windows open, like tabs are just open. Um,
Yeah.
I'm just like super aware of like how they interact with each other, how they were opened, how to close them, and all that. It was just like a constant experience of just managing all of that in my head, and my emotions didn't feel like emotions. It felt like I was watching somebody have emotions because I'm viewing it like if it's just a tab on a computer.
Is this the
Um,
trauma experience or the healing experience?
both.
Okay. Yeah, because
Yeah,
you're not saying it as in pain. I was waiting for you to say pain, like the pain,
pain.
because like the pain of uh just programs looking at each other. Because like that was like wanting to move to Europe for me, and then like being woken up of it's like I got this. This is easy. I'm ready. And then it was just like, bro, bro, bro.
The pain for me was more so that there was not an off button.
Mm.
That's the pain. I can easily, I mean, I've been living like this for like at least 5 years now, probably six. Um, and so I can survive like this. I just want it to be off. Like I can tell that the pain is caused by the fact that I want it to be off and I can't turn it off. But I feel like probably after the second year of dealing with that, I definitely experienced some like neuroplasticity
Yeah.
where like all of that pain kind of killed the feeling of wanting it to be off, if that makes sense. And it killed the freak out of it working like that in my head. Um, and so I
So
feel like that was a blessing. The numbness was a
yeah,
blessing. Yeah.
I think you mentioned the neuroplasticity, and I mentioned this with Felix and Holly. But I do think in the next 50 years, there's a lot of scientific research on this. Is that I do think small doses of mushrooms, they shown that they heal trauma and form new habits, and it just needs to be managed correctly. I don't think people are ready for it, but
Yeah.
just a
I don't
small
doubt that
doses.
that I do not doubt that can be helpful for some people. I feel like determining who those people are is where the tricky thing kind of comes in.
Yeah. Well, the thing is from my experience, it opened up my demons, like to not fear them. And then when you're spending so much time, let's just say blasting,
Mhm.
and then you're like, and you think you're right, and you're still being drawn by your saviors, and you're still delusional in that. And then, but then you're not afraid of your demons, and you do them too hard. Yeah, like could cause some pain for some people. Which is why if you're going to do that, you need a mentor. But that's why I think it's scary, and the reason that they can't use it clinically is because it's unpredictable. But the reason I think it's unpredictable is because it's actually linked to our demons and our personalities.
Hmm.
Um, and I pull it from, I mean, I've said this before, as I pull it from Dave Shan saying DMT gives you consciousness and it shows you everything. Said every time we ask people about DMT and near death experiences, it showed them their demons as a positive thing. And DMT is they're all hallucinogens, and DMT is a spike all at once, like a tear on the brain. It's what your brain releases from near-death experiences. And mushrooms are just a lower form of hallucinogen. So I don't know. That was my experience. But it can also interact with other drugs, so you got to be careful about that. And it just, I think, it needs to be explored more. tested more, but I think it can pair up with OP medicinally. I think it could. I think it could. I have a feeling. I have a feeling.
I mean, a lot of people are saying that. So, I mean, it's definitely helping some people.
Yeah.
Um, I wish that could help me because I definitely was. Um, I can definitely tell, like, without any drugs, that like a lot of my issues are like internal. Um, like it's just a lot of how my brain is like doing my NF sleep and stuff. Like it's kind of there are
Well,
deep things that are kind of getting stored away, kind of a thing. Yeah.
well, it seems like I'm as being a consumed sleep myself. It seems like that we will just spin in our internal worlds, and what needs to start happening is you need to start getting out input from the outside world to get you moving, because you need points of triangulation, because you're just gonna keep going over the same thing. You're just gonna keep sleeping, sleep, 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 sleep. Let's go over this again and again. And sometimes, especially the healing part, is when people give you a difference of perspective on the situation you went through. You know, if it was in some part your behavior or actions that caused what happened, like someone can give you a perspective of like, hey, like turn it around, look at it this way, and that's scary. But that's me. I don't know everything that I can do, but that was me.
I got you.
Yeah. Um. Some people are mentioning some stuff in the comments. I just want to acknowledge Brittany. Uh, Brittany says, "Pain. I feel you, Henry. The pain of being a one. Um, feelings being stuck." And then Otim chimes in. He asks, "What are your Enneagram types out of curiosity?" Dan, you're an 8, right? What about Henry? Do you have any speculation on your Enneagram?
So I was typed by Enneagrammer Universe as social self-pres, 8 wing 9, 6 wing 7, 3 wing 2, and then I was also typed by attitudinal psych. They typed me social sexual, 8 wing 9, 2 wing 3, and then 6 wing 7 last. Yeah. So core 8 on both.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool, cool, cool. I do not know mine. I have a friend who keeps telling me I'm a 7, but like, what's funny when you're, what's funny when is like, you have a friend you're talking to over the internet, and then you have your family who gets into it, and then they all read them off and they go, "You're a Enneagram 4.
Hmm.
You're the mopey, angry, uh, brooding. Like you're brooding and artist and blah 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 and needs to be special." And then people who I interact with uh, via the internet talking about whatever, they're like, "You're a 7. You're a 7. You're a 7." And then other people know you're a 6. You're a 6. You're a 6. I was like, what I don't know who I'm wearing a mask around. Like, who cares? No. So,
Yeah.
if anyone has a guess about me, yeah. If anyone has people tell me your opinions on what Enneagram type you think I am. I'd like to hear your perspective on me. That gives me more points of reference on how I'm coming off. So, I'm an Aries. Are you an Aries, Daniel?
I'm a Gemini.
Gemini, scandalous. I don't know what Gemini.
I was gonna say though, but what you just said sounds pretty 7ish. So no.
Don't make it weird. Wait. Is my moon in Pisces? Yeah, man. I'll be a 7 wing 6 something 9 and then 3 something. I don't know. 3 4. Who cares? Who cares? Everything. I'm all of them. I got it. It's more of a gotta catch them all of personality traits. Obliterate that in personality. As wait, who said that? Aleister Crowley. The obliteration of personality. I should not invoke his name. He's a dark person. He summoned a lot of demons. Guys, I'm losing my mind. But yeah. Otim chimes in. 6 wing 7, 7 wing 6. I could be a 6 if I'm like the rebellious 6. Yeah. But some of my friends hate 6s. I like everyone who's a 6, they're what's wrong with the world. That's pretty racist. How are you doing, Dan? Danny? Danny
Doing
boy?
good. Just processing in the background,
Okay.
like I
Going into a
do.
fugue state.
I'm just gonna processing the next question.
Yes. Okay. I'm ready to ask the next question. Let's get into the questions. So, Danny, if you could be, what would you want to be famous for?
That's an interesting question because I mean it's interesting for a person like me because I do not think too much about um, I feel like I just I don't think fame really matters as much as like what the impact of the thing you're doing
Yep.
that makes you
Impact.
famous matters. I mean, to me, I mean, it's just
I will
like
no. I will say I used to like think just fantasize about being famous, and now I'm just like, nah, I'm good. If I could be anonymous, that might be better.
I've
Don't want your
definitely
fame.
like thought about the idea before, of course. I mean, it's just everybody
Wow.
has like some kind of archetype of like,
I I
like
think
what would it be like to have that, right? But it's just one of those
well,
things where like
okay.
I don't like first of all, I don't like that much attention. Not like what happened.
What about what would you like to be known for in your circles? What would you like to be
Uh,
known for?
hmm,
Because you want to have an impact.
mm, um, what would I like to be known for? Honestly, I just want to make sure that like cause a positive impact. I also I feel like this is probably the masculine SD play, but I just really like to like shake things up to cause a positive thing. Um, However, sometimes people don't see the positive in what I'm doing, or that's not well communicated, or it doesn't actually cause that. Um, for like some observer issue probably, and then I just kind of get seen as the bad person, and that's like
Well,
where I'm very careful with like just
why
this
don't
idea of fame.
why don't we turn that around instead of causing a positive thing? Who knows what's positive? Why don't you just be a positive thing? Be a positive person. Just live positively and affect people positively all the time.
Yeah, I mean, for me, that's kind of a given. Like I definitely am not trying to live like a negative person or anything like that.
Yeah, of course. No one
It's
is.
just when the question
It's
is
fine.
on the impact, my answer is to just have a um, positive and aggressive and violent change.
Hey,
Yeah.
hey. Violence isn't the answer, my friend. Peace and love. You want to cause violence? Now we're enemies. We're gonna have to fight, Danny boy. I'll take you. Look at my friends. You can cause trouble in these parts. You can leave. Just kidding. We need a little trouble. That's fine. Just don't become the villain.
It's violently
Okay.
positive. I put those words together.
Let's here. Let me Google search this. What is the definition of violence? Wow. Okay, so violence, the behavior involving physical force intended to hurt, damage, or kill someone or something. Strength of emotion or unpleasant or destructive natural force. In law, the unlawful exercise of physical force or intimidation by the exhibition of such force. Violence.
Hmm.
I think we're allowed to use violence on bad things. So I guess, but just violence. I choose violence. That's maybe
It's
I'm being judgmental.
naturally just. I mean, we're both double masculine. Let's not
I
pretend
know,
that we're not
man.
about violence,
Combat's
okay?
fun. Yeah, combat.
But in terms of like putting me on like a social platform, that I express that a little differently.
That's fine. I accept that. I'm just saying. You might. Some people might be like, "Whoa, whoa, buddy, violence. Well, why are we talking about violence here?" You're like, "It's who I am. It's allowed." But just saying. Um. Okay. Number 2. What is your career goal, and what would you do after you achieve that goal?
So let's just go down the ideal career path. Um, Intuitive exploration. So if I did go down like doing pharmaceutical research, I mean, just like obviously I'm an FI person, so what comes to mind is like trying to help people that I don't know, like cancer research sounds interesting.
Yeah.
Just anything with like just finding a cure for something that really causes suffering in people.
Yeah.
For a while, I did think about like trying to find a cure for like I don't know, like PTSD or just any kind of like neurological
Is
issues.
there any one cure? It's like cancer. Like cancer can have cancer is a mutation. It can happen a billion ways. There's no. Well, sorry for being fulfilling. Let me just say, I'm giving the intuitive side, which is like uh, understanding of trauma or understanding of the brain is so complex. Um,
Yeah, it's just a very general like thing I would do. I don't know. Um,
a cure for some forms of trauma would be great. Yeah, but a lot of that isn't pharmaceutical.
mhm.
How would you cure trauma with a drug?
Well, that's
There's,
different. I mean, I do have a psychology degree, so I
yeah.
could put that to use.
Yes.
Okay, I'm trying to log this in so I can. Okay, that's good enough. Okay, all right.
Your aura is kind of a murky green.
I used to be really, really big into that stuff. Um,
It's nothing. It's nothing. Nothing important. It's just fun. It's just weird. But okay. So yeah, curing trauma. Would you wanna talk with people through it? Guide people? Be a mentor? Would you want to mentor at all?
I did for a while. While I was studying psychology, I I would do these like little free sessions with just kind of friends. I mean, it was nothing really serious, just kind of like they can just talk to me about their things, um, and just kind of helping them to understand like how they feel a little bit better. Because some people have like don't have savior SFNF kind of thing, but
Mhm.
um, and a lot of them really liked like the way I was doing that, and but I don't really feel too attracted to doing that as like a career. Um, it's too much, too many saviors. I don't like it.
Too many saviors?
Way too many saviors for me. I
What
do
do you
not
mean,
want
saviors?
like my saviors,
You-
like SF, NF. Yeah.
I mean, you don't have to. I don't know. It's kind of like coaching. Coaching's one of the skills on Layla Hermosi's list. I mean, if you can coach people, you can coach a team. You can manage people, and
If I did coaching, it would be more ST than
okay,
like SF, NF, like emotions. Um,
you can always do that.
well,
It's
that's a different
it's not my
question.
definition NFSF. It's the whole
For me,
person.
that would be a totally different question. I'm talking more about like helping people through trauma. That's I am not really interested in that.
Okay. 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 Next question. How would you describe your friend group? How do you make friends? And what does it mean to you? Just focus on the first two. How would you describe your friend group, and how do you make friends?
Okay, so I this semester I'm taking organic chemistry, and I got so social this semester. It's been like unbelievable. I have never been this social my entire life. I have like I meet up with people to study like almost every day. Um, and really, I just like to make sure that everybody's on track, that everybody knows like how to get a good grade, that I just make sure that people are doing what they have to do. Um, I just really like to, I have like several group chats for people for different things, for the lab, for the study group, for the big group, that kind of thing. And I put all the needed information in the description, including like the office hours of the learning assistants, the professor, the lab manual PDF, like everything they need. Um, so for me, I feel like the best way that I can kind of engage in making friends is if I can help them do their social one, even if they're not even a social one, but help them kind of be on the same path I'm on. I just kind of
Hmm.
create more lanes for people to be next to me, if that makes sense. So that's like how I do it. I also have online friends where it's not that serious. It's just compartmentalized a different like side of me,
Hmm.
where it's just a lot more like we're just constantly processing what's happening in the day. Maybe like I'm having an argument with a person somewhere else, and I'll go into this group chat and just kind of like talk it out, and they'll share their thoughts with me, or maybe we share emotional stuff. I like to get very emotionally open with these people.
Hmm.
Like I
Yeah.
really show my um, how much I care um, with these groups. Like if you're further away from me, it's easier for me to do that. Ironically, like if I don't actually know you, it's easier for me to express my raw emotions. But if you're
Hmm.
like in my class or something, I'm that there's a huge wall. I'm
Hmm.
like strictly just trying to make sure we do what we have to do. Um, so hope that answers.
Yeah. Yeah. And I totally get that. It's kind of yeah. Um, I've just been trying to rope people into events and come up with ideas, and especially help out around here. Just make it social. It's like um, I just saw there was a silent book club, and I was just like, oh, I want to get there. It was sold out at other places. I was like, I'm just gonna suggest it to the owner here. Done next day, and now I'm just like every time I go out, and it's just like, hey, join my book club. That I suggested, that I accidentally started, And it's just like it's a great time because that's time to read up on like the 48 laws of power, personal growth stuff, and also socialize. So it's introverted socializing. You rope in a bunch of introverts, and then you're just networking, and that's great.
Yeah.
Let's see. Next, can you describe some conflicts at work? How would you describe bosses, coworkers, and people under you?
This is where my social decider kind of like just explodes all the way
Go
to
ahead.
space.
Let's hear it.
All right, let me see. So, I am currently a substitute teacher, and this has been the best job for me while I'm doing school because I do not really have a boss. I just kind of show up at a school from like, okay, first, let me be a little more organized here. So, like, I select my assignments on a website for the substitute teachers. So, like, let's say, like, a school like 20 miles away. Um, Need somebody for Wednesday, I'll select it, or maybe because it's 20 miles away, that's too far, so I'll try to look for one that's closer. Like I can really serve myself a lot here. It's like it's great. So I'll kind of select an assignment. I'll show up at that school, and then I just go to the main office and sign in, and then I go in the classroom and I just kind of tell the students to shut up, and that's it. Like it's really that simple. Um, But prior to becoming a substitute teacher, I was having a very hard time finding work that I can actually hold um,
I've had that.
because my demon masculine TE and my social one are pretty intense.
Mhm.
Um, I, I feel so triggered by the just the way that like things are being managed and the way that like you're getting talked to like you're really fucking dumb. um you get talked to like you cannot like do anything at all, and like if you have one question, it's because you're doing something wrong and you're not supposed to have that question. You're supposed to be on like some pace that doesn't exist, that they cannot define. That even if you ask them what is that pace, there will be no answer. It would just gonna be like you're not even supposed to be talking right now.
Mhm.
Like there's just it's just way too. It does not actually feel like it is set up to create success. And I have like so many strong, immovable ideas about like how to create that success that it's just kind of like I just cannot right now. It's just not.
Do
Um,
you have management experience?
To a degree,
Mhm.
I was a learning assistant for a Calc 1 class, um, and so I've like had to kind of organize a lot while the teacher was kind of doing his. I had a teacher, I mean, the professor that I was the learning assistant for was very not masculine DE, probably double feminine,
Mhm.
not controlling the classroom, and I have to like do that role. Like if the students have to like, okay, look, this is what bothered me about him. So he tells the
Mhm.
students, you need to prepare a presentation for the end of the class. It's extra credit. You don't have to, but if you want that, then do it at the end of the class. And
Mhm.
then towards the end of the class, like he's telling people, okay, do your presentations, but then people get chaotic and nobody can do their presentation. And then it's like, but what's the point if you
And you
don't
kind of
make
want to
sure?
sheepdog herd them. Yeah.
Like so then I just raise my voice like everybody like you need to stop talking like somebody's presenting, and I'm it's like it's just so it's like I really make sure that the thing that needs to get done happens. um and so like even if I don't have like 20 years of experience doing that, it's just kind of in me. So just like that's how it's manifesting for me. I don't know how else to say that.
I mean, I will say some of my experience with bosses. I have that same thing. It's kind of like hey, yeah, be stern. Like you gotta like push on the person,
Mhm.
push on these people. They need to get moving. It's like you're when you got masculine DE, you kind of are. It's the barking, and you might
Mhm.
have like a voice that projects and all that stuff. Um, I'll say like I had a boss that literally said not to anyone in particular, but just said like looked up and went, "If I am talking to you, you've probably done something wrong." I was just like, I am gonna avoid this person all the time, and I am
Mhm.
glad not to talk to this person. Um, but I will say one of the first steps for being a one is to start really learning. Kim's laughing. Um, is definitely start with humility. Is that you have to start going. Yeah, sometimes you'll have a dumb boss, but you really got to put yourself in the shoes of the managers and just go like, okay, I don't know everything. I don't have experience. How can I be supportive? And how can I just I'm not this isn't real. I'm just here to learn. I'm just here for experience. This is just going on my resume. This is just part of my racket. Yeah, humble. Us ones were always like, yeah, I know. Like you'll talk over people and we'll all like oh, he doesn't know what he's doing, even though the person like has way more experience than us. But there's a balance to it. There's definitely a balance to it, and I'm not saying that you didn't have the right answers. Like we often do, but yeah, like even now, just I realized walking a dog. You can learn how to manage people from just walking a dog. Do you have a dog?
I have a cat.
You have a cat? Boo. No, I'm just kidding. Cats are great. What do you like about your cat?
He's a Persian cat, so he's a little bit ugly and cute at the same time. So,
My family has a pug dog. So same. Ugly and cute. So um this is so awkward because this is such a one archetype, which is just like if a one has nothing, they'll be like me and my dog, and I'm the CEO of my dog. Like and yeah, I've had that, right? So it's like you can have a connection with your dog or your pet, and even just like because you're demon blast, it's like this is where you awkwardly control things, but you actually are kind of doing it. You actually it's like a video game where it's like it's not real, so it's safe.
mhm.
But I realized walking the dog pulls, and I'm very stern with the dog, and I won't let the dog like yank on me. I'm like, no, if you're yanking, I'm just gonna lean back and just go, nah, we're not moving if you're yanking me around. And if the dog starts sniffing a pole, and I'm like, my initial thing was yank the dog, come on, no, rah, 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 rah. And I started to realize just recently, wait a minute, why is this dog stopping and sniffing this pole? This dog looks saddled. This dog looks bored. Doesn't get enough walks. Doesn't connect with people enough. The parents are busy. I'm the one who gives it the most love. And so instead of yanking it, I reach down, and this is the magic of D is I grab her little face and I pull her face up and I go, Penny, 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 look at me. We gotta go. And then because I connected with her and I still pushed, I still am pushing. I'm not just letting the dog pull me around. I look at the dog and the dog is much more pliable because I reached down, I pushed it a little bit, and I connected with the dog. I'm like, oh, this is what Caesar Milan is doing. I don't know, like something like that.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, like I started realizing that, and the dog just became way more obedient, way more calm. We'll still stop, we'll still flop over a little bit, but like I'm just like that push plus softness and connection. I was like, oh, the dog's sniffing the pole because it's curious about other dogs. The dog's chasing other dogs because it wants to connect. The dog is yelling because I'm barking at the dog. So it's all prototype, and then you start realizing like this just connects to everything else. But yeah. My initial
I
stuff
mean, I
was
will
yank the dog,
say,
bark at the dog. Yeah.
I will say that like I don't necessarily have an issue with bosses. It's more so like I just need to respect them, which I understand sounds like bad, but like it's more so like
The urge is an ego urge to do better, and it's a good urge. You're like, I want to do better. That's good. And then but the ego's coming in going, I already know. I got this. I'm better. And it's like if you add humility to it, then I'm telling you, man, you get so much traction. We all get traction. I've been like, I've just been talking shit about, like we're gonna do
yeah.
this and we're gonna do that, and it's gonna be so great, and we're gonna scare everyone, and everyone's gonna stay in line. And it's just like I've been there, and I'm not saying I was probably worse. I'm probably way worse. It's probably way worse. You got to be worse to get better. But I
Yeah,
think you're doing.
I mean, I feel
I
like
think you're
there's a
doing.
time and a place. I feel like there's a time and a place for everything, including humility.
It.
This may be, maybe this is not so much an answer for everybody, but for me, it has been. Like, I feel like just kind of being passive um, and just not really taking ownership of the fate is also not good, but there's always going to be a balance that is more. You can only see the balance from the perspective points um, that you actually need, because there's a million perspective points. All of them see a different balance. Which balance do you need? It's going to be the one that's actually going to cause what you need, That's just how I see
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. 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 Well, you know. Um. Okay. 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 Next question. What would constitute the perfect day for you? Feel free to be as unhumble as possible, because that was my
Okay.
initial answer to this question.
Perfect day. I've answered this before somewhere else. I think I said, um, I believe I said, the perfect day for me is a day where we're making progress. I do not care that much about being happy. I do a little bit, but it's not like this. It's more like a little layer on top. I don't need to be this happy. That's not the perfect day for me. Um, I just like the day where we're making progress. We're learning something we didn't already know. Something that's actually gonna move something forward, like unblock something. And if we already have all the information we need, then the like a day where we're like very well applying it and causing progress, like either or. For
Yeah.
me, that's
Yeah.
just how it is. And then like I feel like an extra is like to have people around me that I can actually kind of let loose with and not be
Mm-hmm.
so flex with. Like I do like to take off that flex at some point and just kind of be stupid, um, like on purpose, and just be happy
Mm-hmm.
about it and just enjoy life.
Hey, sometimes doing that is the biggest flex.
It's so hard for me.
Sometimes it's the biggest flex to be able to go, I'm the best, and also I don't care what you think of me. I'm just I'm a goofball. I have no inhibitions, nothing stopping me. And then people are like, oh, his energy. That's just immaculate. And if you can get there, sometimes that's being happy, being just happy and peaceful can be the biggest flex. Peace and love. Everything's peace and love. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I like I said, I like that. It's just um, I don't know. It seems like something that comes after all the things I'm trying to do. So I kind of delay it and delay it and delay it, and by the time like I'm trying to, I don't know how. I just cannot. I don't know.
Hey, I haven't achieved anything I wanted yet. I'm a one. I'm almost the same type as you.
We're
You
one
can.
click off. That's interesting.
I know we're one click off, and you know what Owen Cook says? Owen Cook's like, I know I'm preaching Owen Cook. I know I'm preaching Owen Cook. I think Enneagram clash. Um, Owen Cook's like confidence and joy and good vibes will bring you success because everyone will want to work with you. Now I know I'm an ENFP, so I'm preaching that, but I'm preaching extroversion as well.
I can see the value in that. Like, um, I definitely think that if you like do not incorporate any good vibes, it's gonna lower the success rate of anything you do. So it's just me.
I do want to address, yeah, something Brittany Hart says, and this is advice I've given to other ones. As a one, the more removed we are from someone, the easier it is to be vulnerable. I'm 100% the same. I will say, at one point in my life, now that I've like started making friends by doing what I'm doing, like my old friends, I start to realize I'm like, we aren't even that. We've never even been that close for a long time. We've and I started to realize like um just kind of dumping, and I'm not trying to bag. I'm just saying like when it's a stranger, how do I call it? I've had it so many times where I'm like, here, just let me tell you my life story. Here, let me tell you what's going on with me. It's just like a stranger, and maybe that person is open to that. It's like I'm open to talking to strangers about that. I'm open to strangers telling me stuff. I just sit there and be like, yeah, man, yeah, man, yeah, man. Um, but being blast last and all this stuff. How do I? This is gonna sound so offensive. I call it intimacy molestation, where it's like because you're so blocked up, you're not letting it flow, and then you're like, let me talk to strangers about it who aren't a part of my life, aren't connected to me in any way. Just get it out with them. Um, you're doing it because you're actually afraid to genuinely connect with someone and have a relationship with people. And so, like I said, you're too blocked up. It's like kind of how the men women game where like women like it's kind of like men are like women can play with my emotions, and it's because women are on shorter cycles, and so they're on a lunar cycle, a monthly cycle, and men are on like a solar cycle, right?
Mm.
So men have a seasonal cycle, or like we all do, hypothetically. The long cycle means that it's a bigger explosion. That's why men end up in prison, right?
Mm.
That's why men are actually more crazy, and then men are like, "Ah, she's all so crazy all the time." It's like, no, women are in the flow of things, and they see these cycles. They can't be free of them, and so they are riding it more, which means they learn more. They learn from it quicker. Whereas men, it's like the sun came out in the spring and it melted all the snow, and oops, flash flood. Like oops, hurricane. Men are the storm and the flood when all the everything piled up melts.
Mm.
And I don't like. I'd say practice with people who are less close to you, but you do need to start getting people who are the appropriate people to talk to in your life who you can connect with. I'm just saying it from experience because I've been the same way. So, oh, sorry for handing out advice, but this is I am spiritually obligated to tell the truth. This is my truth. Okay. So we just asked what was the perfect day for you. Um. Okay, Daniel, Danny, for what in life do you feel most grateful?
Um, there's a lot of things I'm grateful for. Um, a lot.
Hmm.
I'm always processing this every single day, like
Hmm.
multiple times a day, every day. Um, it's just weird to extrovert it, I guess.
Why not?
because it's my sleep.
I eat food and I just go, oh, it's delicious. When I look at people, I smile and I go, and they smile back. I go, oh, I'm just happy to be happy. I'm happy to help. I'm happy for everything that was I thought was terrible because now I'm happy. If all that stuff hadn't happened, I'd still be spinning.
I guess my narrowed answer would be I'm grateful for the ability to I'm grateful for the ability to like make sure other people do not suffer.
Mm.
That's like the big thing. I don't
Can you
know.
define what suffering you're trying to make people avoid or protect people from?
Anything that was like close to like what I went through, or even worse, or just any shade that I can really see. Um, I That's where my heart is. It's in like relating to when people go through bad things. Um, that's really where that my vibe is on that.
There are many forms of suffering I wish weren't didn't exist or were great, greatly reduced. Just really bad injustices. Um, I don't think we can stop all of them ever, but you know, I don't want to eliminate all suffering. I don't think you do either.
There's definitely necessary suffering. Absolutely. Yeah.
There's beautiful suffering. There's ever take a cold shower? Ever walk out in the cold? Ever walk in cold snow with your bare feet?
I
Ever
see that
feel the
as
burn?
necessary suffering. I don't know.
What?
I know a
I didn't
lot of
need to. I
people
could have
that
worn shoes.
what I'm saying is like I know a lot of people that call suffering beautiful. It's just not like,
No, I'm not saying suffering just is all beautiful. I'm not saying all suffering is beautiful.
but you're saying that there are beautiful suffering, right? Yeah, my brain doesn't think of it that way, but I know a lot of people that
I think
think
it's
like
because
that.
you haven't healed yet.
I don't think so. I mean, we're all constantly healing. It's not that. It's just I process it different.
Sure.
Could be a
Okay.
different
I'm sorry.
enneagram type thing too.
Oh yeah.
Um,
Oh yeah.
yeah, like if you have four in your heart space, you're more likely to say that. If you have two in
Be
your heart space,
artistically. Yeah.
yeah.
I held up the cross because I always think of like I wear prayer beads for Zen, peace, observer problems, because dealing with it, and the cross reminds me of love and sacrifice.
Hmm.
You know, there wasn't anything to challenge or sacrifice or show. How would we?
I guess what's happening for me is like my SETE kind of looks at the word suffering through like a purely ST lens, and it's like I don't mix the definitions. Um, like if it's suffering, then it's suffering. If it's beautiful, then it's beautiful. They're like different. There's a division
I,
line in the definition for me.
I mean, I punch the wall and I punch it until it hurts, and I go, yeah, pain. I'm alive, grounded. I'm grounded in reality. I'm alive, and then I just go, I'm grateful to be alive.
Yeah, well, I can see
Have you
that.
have you ever tried meditation?
Of course, yes.
How much meditation do you do?
I used to do it a lot. I used to like for 10 years. I was a spiritual person, highly,
Hmm.
highly spiritual.
Okay.
Um, and um, the meditation at some point after my trauma kind of became like a source of anxiety. Um,
I can imagine.
not
You do that for a lot of
100%.
people.
Like there were still aspects of meditation that were not causing anxiety, but like when I would really go inwards, I did explain the the computer program thing that I see with my the wiring in my brain. Yeah, when I go really deep inward, that amps up, and it's like emotions do not exist. There's just flavorless analyzation, like just analyzing like just the programmings without any feeling at all. It's like pure disconnection. Um, and I just feel so like a robot. Like there's like I don't even know why I'm like keeping up with thinking. I just want to like I don't want to be in that state. I want to be more in a state that feels like emotional and like peaceful. Like for me. Um, so that's why I'm a little weird with meditation.
Hmm. Have you ever tried doing it in nature?
Oh yeah,
Hmm.
I used to do it at this beach a lot, and I would connect to. Um, I was so weird when I was a spiritual person. Let me start with that. I went like really into the NF, and I would like connect to. I could like feel the waves of the tides, like from the moon to the earth, and like kind of feel the um, just the energy of that, and kind of like try to. I was really big into like consciousness and kind of like experiencing consciousness, kind of reading it, and like hearing it, if that makes sense. Like you can, if you can tap into that energy of the like from the moon to the earth, like there's like it's like you can like read it, and it has like a there's a wisdom in it that you can kind of go through, and like as you're
Hmm.
reading it, it's like a kind of like listening to music and it's teaching you something. It's like kind of just going through that the type of stability that's within that energy is a different kind that you naturally have, so you can kind of observe it and learn from just reading that signature. I used to do that a lot. Yeah.
Hmm. I don't know. For me, like connecting with source, I kind of realize like as a savior NF, like I don't trust how I feel, or like I
Hmm.
go like the feelings will not tell me the truth. I can only trust what I see,
Hmm.
and I have to be honest with myself about what I'm seeing because my brain's just
Hmm.
guessing, 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 guessing.
Hmm.
Um. So yeah, yeah. It's I almost wonder if spiritual stuff must like talking to people about auras. Like I'm like,
Hmm.
yeah, I'm literally seeing it. I don't know what to tell you.
Hmm.
I don't know what to tell you. I'm literally seeing it. And so it was, oh, it's a feeling, and I'm like, sometimes I wonder if like if thinkers need to tap into their feel to how they feel and they just feel it, and um if NFs like get grounded, start grounding themselves, and they start like literally seeing. I have no fucking. This is just speculation on my part, but it's just my feelings have led me wrong so many times. It's like
Yeah.
that
I used
shit's
to.
demonic. That shit's my devil.
I
It's
guess
me, but it's my devil.
like if you're asking my perspective on that, it's definitely gonna be like mixed because
Yeah,
I jumped from like the box of NF to the ST to the NF to the ST. So I have
yeah,
both
yeah, yeah,
perspectives. I would say the only thing I could ever really offer is just like the understanding of like what you really get from both sides and what would happen if you went here versus there.
yeah. Well,
Um,
you'd be okay. Yeah, keep going.
yeah, like I mean that's really what I see. Like I can see the benefits of going into the NF side, and I see the big benefit of being practical and grounded and ST. And I do think both can be necessary. But I also think that like people, what makes people happy is different. You know, it's not always going to be the same. For some people, being less practical and just less ST is going to create the balance that comes with the perspective they're trying to have, right? And that can kind of like backwards create that perspective you want to have, right? So it's really up to you. Like I don't have any real judgment on this kind of thing.
Yeah. Okay. Next question. What is the greatest accomplishment of your life?
Hmm. I don't think it's come yet, to be honest.
Yeah.
But if I
But I'm
had to
not.
like answer it anyways, like in terms of what's happened so far, um, um, okay, I don't want to cry. What am I doing?
Why?
I cry so easily with certain things.
It's fine. I cried during movies. I tear up in the car. I listen to music.
Okay. Certain things are just way too tough. Um, okay, I don't think I can answer this.
That's fine. That's fine.
This is too
That's
much.
fine. Okay. Last question then. How do you cope with the fact you will one day die?
Okay, I like that better. So, all right. So, um, I've thought a lot about death in the last like 3 years, or even longer, to be honest. Like last 6 years, after going through the trauma that I went through, I really had to process the possibility that I could die, because I felt like I was dying really bad, and I didn't stop feeling like I was dying for it just never really went away. Um, I had like a an issue. I mean, it could just be a result of like like severe depression that just kind of built up, and I just for some reason I could not tell I was depressed. Although I knew I was depressed, but I couldn't truly feel exactly how bad it was possibly, and that just kind of built up into like a your brain like deteriorating or something like that, and then just causing like sensory issues and feeling
Yeah.
dissociated and stuff like that. It's possible. I don't know. I don't know if I just can't feel how depressed I am. I'm a lot better now, just saying. But at the time, I had this issue where I started to feel like I wasn't alive. It felt like I just kind of died, like literally. And I could not feel happiness, and it was to a point where like I mean I could laugh and look like I'm happy. I just don't feel it. Like I just don't um not connected to it. It's just happening to my body. Um and then my friends I had a wife, which is crazy. I had a wife when I was 21 and I get divorced at 22. So this happened when I was 21. Um and she had a friend who would smoke weed. And I had smoked before. It wasn't really a big thing. I wasn't too big into it, but I had done it before. And I smoked with them one day. It was one night actually. And I just took one hit, and my brain felt extremely happy, but I felt the complete opposite. Um, and like I emotionally felt like I just didn't want to experience anything anymore, that kind of thing. And it spiraled into like a my experience of my body was like a screen. It was like I just saw like a window, like just an image of what my brain is seeing, my eyes are seeing. And that was just so intense for me. It just felt like I thought I was just gonna die from not being able to be in my body, or um, resisting how negative that felt inside of me. I thought I was gonna like just end up in a hospital or something and just never come back. Um, so I had to
That
really,
disconnection from your body, that sounds like NT. Like, sounds really NT. Sounds like you're an SF who would be very in touch with their body, and you're like, here's the experience of the outside part of that, and you're like, and you didn't like it. It was really painful.
I mean, it felt like it was so, um, like imagine somebody went inside of your brain where you experience emotions and they cut it, like they just ripped it off. Like it was like that. It was like not normal. It wasn't just NT. It was just like an issue, like a problem. Um, because normal
Well,
NT is for me
most
just really.
thinkers, the thing is most thinkers I talk to, like, I start to realize, I'm like, they are not aware of what they're feeling. That's how they describe it. That's how they behave. And you're like, hey, you're feeling this. I'm like, we don't talk about that.
I mean, some of them tell me that they do feel emotions, they just ignore
Of
it.
course, but like,
But
they're
this
like,
is like you don't. This is like you can't like. This feels like imagine if like in the theater of your brain where your sense of self and just everything that you know as you inside is like gone. Like it's just um disconnected, and that's what it felt like something truly
for some
um
people, that's for some people that's they some spiritual people that describe that as bliss and enlightenment. Being disconnected, it's not necessarily disconnected. They feel one with everything else. So you must be describing something different. Hmm.
it could be different for
But I
me
wonder if
because
it could be inverted into the same. I'm just curious.
I've considered that, and throughout my like I was still spiritual back then, so I did definitely cross those ideas. It just didn't feel like a good thing for me. It just felt like a problem. I mean, it was literally not functional.
Yeah.
And that was partly why I had a hard time like getting a normal job. I mean, I had to hop around a lot just because I could not do it. Like I would start working for like a couple months, and then this problem would like get really bad. Um, like I would start to feel like I would start to not be able to focus at all, like to the point where like I'm supposed to be doing something simple, and I'm like having like a panic attack in between things I have to do. It's like way too intense. That I don't consider that normal. I don't consider that like what thinkers are going through. That's not what it's really like for them. It's
No,
just
no, no,
me.
no, no. You're describing. I'm saying that you're describing it as a. There, touching that disconnection was scary and bad. I'm saying the thinkers are just there, calm. That's what I'm saying. The thinkers are there in a calm state. And you're
Hmm.
saying like, "This is the worst thing ever." It's like, well, isn't that what I see the thinkers doing all the time? They're just going beep boop beep boop beep boop beep boop beep boop. I don't know myself. I don't know my feel. I feel things. I get confused. Like that's
My
over and
my
over.
thinking. I hear what you're saying. My like when I am using thinking, it feels like it's just more like. Hold on one second. It would be similar to like okay, have you ever had to? Obviously, you've had, but like, let's say you have a bunch of groceries, you have to fit it in a small space in a specific way that where everything fits. Like it's just kind of using that, like it's just like making things, like thinking through to make things fit, because like thinking is like thinking with causes. Like if you do this, then this will happen. So you might want to do this instead. It's
Yeah.
like, so that's how thinking feels for me. But this is more like it may be actually be more intuition. I think like more of like a the opposite of body. In terms of
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, in terms of like Enneagram, it's actually my line to five. So I don't know if you know that there's lines
Yeah, I
in
know the
Enneagram
points.
types.
Yeah.
It's like a negative line to five. So five is disconnected from the heart and the body. Um,
Hmm.
it's actually, yeah.
So how do you cope with it though? How do you cope with the fact that you will one day die?
Um,
You said you liked this question better. How do you cope?
I do. Um, this is like, I guess this whole thing I've been talking about is more like my background on
Yeah.
how I kind of started processing that. It was through feeling like that. I had to
Mm.
really process because of that experience. Like, oh, what if I die? Like, I literally feel like I'm dying. I'm processing. Like, I would literally have dreams where I would try to like understand what would happen after you die. Um, Also, like just throughout the day, I would randomly like just see my NF sleep is processing the perspective of death. Um, and like it would really start to paint like a very vivid picture of that possibility, that I can see from my perspective. Like the best picture I could paint of that. Um, but like I feel like the way I kind of cope with it is I definitely don't like the reality, just because I, there's a lot of like ways you can kind of go with like predicting what it might be, right? Like there's the possibility that there's nothing. You just kind of have the lifetime that you have that experience, and then there's kind of nothing. Um, or um, the experience that you're having through your lifetime is going to kind of be stored away into another entity that is larger than you. Or maybe your experience of your lifetime is just consciousness kind of like um, downloading itself, as if, like, imagine if consciousness was a strand of DNA. You would have to download through
Mm.
the whole strands, and that could kind of be like the movie of your life. And going through that may like be helpful for like other consciousness to integrate into a larger form of consciousness that has more choices or more ability to have a more complex understanding of itself as an existence. There's just so many different
Have you listened to
things that
Side Guru at all?
I have listened to him a little bit. Yeah.
I think he has really good perspective on life. He doesn't get into the nitty gritty of. I mean, he will talk about some reincarnation, but it's oddly specific. Like, but then he'll just talk about what it about life, living life. I think he has a really good perspective on that. Yeah.
That's nice. Yeah, he's cool. I mean, I think that he's very. I've listened to a lot of spiritual teachers. I don't really consume NF, to be honest with you. I do not like
Yeah.
sit and like consume it, but I have listened to a couple spiritual gurus and stuff like that.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I think it's time to wrap up. It's been nice having you on, Daniel. Thank you everyone for joining us. Had a great time. I'm gonna end the stream. Say bye.
All
Bye.
right, bye bye.